Welcome to my YouTube channel once again. Today I'm going to be taking you through how to survive, but not just survive, but to make the most of your stay in the tertiary institution. When I got here at the University of Ghana, I was actually a very boring person. Not boring in terms of how I related with people and stuff like that, but my life was very boring. I did basically about 4 things. I ate, I slept, I studied, and I went to church and I also studied. So those are 5 things. University education allows you to do more, and most of us don't actually see the more. I want you to know that as you came to university, you came as an individual. You may have a whole lot of friends here, course mates and everything, but you came here alone. So what I want you to know is that as you came here alone, you should have a plan for yourself. Even though you have friends, I'm not saying don't care for your friends and stuff like that, but have a plan for yourself and know that this is what you want to achieve at the end of university education. So if you are in level 100, this would be the perfect time to do that. If you are also in level 200, 300 or even 400, it's still not late. You can still adjust some things, plan and make a few changes before you leave. As a level 100, you have no excuse. Try and chart a plan for yourself. I know we are all here and we want first class, but trust me, first class is not always what will help you. There are people who have first class but they don't have skills. So even though they may get jobs, they'll end up being sacked. So the truth of the matter is that you need to chart a balance between your grade and what you learn extracurricular, which will help you. And this all depends on your planning. Based on your planning, you know that you have to join a number of these groups, volunteer, do a whole lot of things, and this will help you to even manage your time, which is one of the most important things you need to know how to manage in your stay in the tertiary institution that you are. Time is very important, and you being able to manage your time with respect to your plan will determine whether you become successful here or not. So these are the first things I want to share with you. You have to have a plan, and it has to be tied with your time. So based on your time, you know that you are studying this amount of hours a day, you are spending the rest doing this, maybe going to church, going to volunteer for a worthy cause and things like that. So this is my first point. Take note and it will help you. Secondly, my advice to you is that don't study for grades. Now if you are in level 100 or maybe 200 and you are just getting into the tertiary system, you may think I'm crazy, but this is an established fact. Now companies are no longer employing people simply because they have a first class. Now companies are looking for skills. The truth of the matter is that university education, even though it's helping us to learn a lot, it's not really teaching us a lot of skills. So if you want to be able to perform better at the job market, which most of us at the tertiary level are actually studying to do, you must be able to differentiate between the importance of grades and skills to whatever you want to do. Sometimes there are CEOs and business owners who employ people not just because they have a degree in a particular area. Some of them, they even employ them with degrees in a whole lot different area as compared to the particular job they are giving them. This is because you may have skills and the skills are tailored towards a particular aspect. Let's just say you studied dance, but while you were at the university or the tertiary level, you gained a whole lot of skills in marketing for say. You may be applying to a job and you get it as a marketer, and that's actually very, very, very possible because you have the skills to be able to perform as a marketer even though you don't have the degree. So sometimes the degree doesn't really matter, and the degree is made up of grades. So when you are studying, try to really understand whatever they are doing. If you are studying a particular field which is something that really interests you, you should be able to go beyond just the grades, look beyond just the grades, try to study and understand the concepts for yourself, because sometimes you can just study and memorize everything and write the exams and pass, but when it comes to performance, the question is, will you be able to perform? If you are given a job, if you are given a task, will you be able to deliver? These are the questions you should be asking yourself while going through your academic studies, because sometimes we over focus on getting the good grades and we get to the job market and realize that the job market is no longer looking for just grades. Then we are confused. So pay attention to what you are doing, and don't just study for grades. Point number 3, don't follow the crowd. As human beings, we are born into a society and we live with people, and eventually we tend to act, behave, speak, and do a whole lot of things that we don't even notice we are doing, just like everyone around us is doing. So let's say you have a friend, and the friend is always doing a particular thing. Due to the relationship you have with the fellow, if you are very close with the fellow, you're most likely to be doing the same things as the person is doing. Now, if the person is doing something which is not good for you in particular, but maybe good for him, you may be leaning towards the wrong ladder, but you won't know. But because the fellow is your friend, you think everything good for him is good for you. So you follow the crowd, you do everything that you are supposed to do. By the end of your studies and everything, you graduate and you come out and realize that you're actually learning the wrong things, and what you learned was not good for you. So my advice is that don't follow the crowd. You are here, you are in the society, you are learning from others, but make sure that there are some things that you don't change, or there are some things that you decide for yourself that even if everyone is doing, you won't do, because you know what you stand for, you know what you want, and you know what your future is about. And this goes to support the first point I made. If you don't have a plan, you don't know what you want, so you end up following everything. So my third point and advice to you is that don't follow the crowd. In certain terms, you could follow the crowd, but know what you should follow the crowd for and what you shouldn't follow the crowd for. Point number 4. Point number 4 is very interesting, and it has to do with you losing something. And when I mean losing, it's not just losing it for nothing, but it's losing it for something. My fourth point to you is that you have to learn to sacrifice. Sometimes you have a friend who is not really helping you. You have a friend, or you have an activity you do all the time which is not really helping you. Maybe it's watching movies and series. Series specifically can be very seductive and time consuming, because these days the series are like 45 minutes, 1 hour, and before you watch 2-3, that's 3 hours gone, and it's time you are wasting. Maybe it's if for entertainment, but if it's for entertainment, don't do it a lot. Try to do it moderately, because time is very precious. So you need to know that you have to sacrifice a whole lot of things. You may see your friends watching movies, doing a whole lot of fun things. If you really have a plan and you know what you're about, you won't go about doing what everybody is doing. So this particular point goes to buttress my previous point. Don't just follow the crowd. Learn to do what your plan says. And if your plan says that you have to do something, and even though your friends or colleagues or course-mates may be doing it, just know that it's not everything that you have to do. And in this particular process, sacrifice sometimes has to do with your time. You may be having an IA or a test, and you also have maybe an event to be at. Now you have to consider which one do you have to sacrifice. Sometimes we may sacrifice our studies, and I think it's not something you should really try to indulge yourself into. If you have a test, study for it. You can pause whatever you are doing, because it all boils down to the reason why you are here. And you are here because you want to study. So if you are here because you want to study and you have a test, everything should be able to be put to a pause for you to be able to study. So know that you need to sacrifice. If you are sacrificing, do that with respect to the time you have. Do it with respect to the resources you have. And also learn to be very patient, because patience is one of the virtues that will help you. Last point, and it be last does not mean that I value it less or I think you should undervalue it yourself. It's actually very important, and one of the most important of all that I'm giving to you. And it lies in the path that you need to start learning something in relation to what you are going to do after school. So if you want to be a marketer, or you generally want to work at a job, then you need to start learning whatever it entails so start to learn something in relation to whatever you want to do after school. So if it's a job you want to work at, you need to define what that job means to you. Start learning whatever you need to learn, because sometimes you may be studying something but you don't want to actually come out and work in that field. So even though you may be studying something, you need to try to do something in relation to what you also want to do outside. If not, you come out and you'll be stranded, as I said. And part of learning skills which will be useful to whatever you'll be doing after school boils down to volunteering, doing internships, and trying to engage yourself in extracurricular activity. So if you want to become a particular person in a particular role at some company, you need to actually go there, get an internship slot, study how the company works, study how that particular role works. So while you are here learning and trying to get good grades and make a better life for yourself here as well, try to also learn for life after school, because life after school may be more scary than even life in school, and that depends on how you go about your period in school. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope it gave you some useful tips and tricks and strategies and whatever you want to call them, but I just hope that it improves you, even if it's just a little. I'd be glad and grateful. And if this video helped you in any particular way, do leave a like. You can also subscribe. I'll be very much grateful for that as well. And share to someone who may need this video or who needs this video, because you're not the only person. You have friends. Try to share to them. And as a summary of this whole thing, try to learn. Try to learn for yourself. Life is a learning process, and we are here in whatever institution you are to learn. Make the most of your stay here, and I wish you all the best.